to speak on summarizing chapter 15, the Yoga of the Supreme Lord, or Purushottam Yoga. This is the shortest chapter, 20 verses, but 20 solid verses. So it's a challenge, actually. How do you summarize the essence of Bhagavad Gita in 40-45 minutes? So I tried to keep it very, very simple as I could. Dear Krishna Prabhu, whenever you're ready, you can bring up those slides.
Yes, Prabhu.
I made some slides and sent it to Prabhu to project. So are you right now doing Bhagavad Gita?
Yes, Prabhu. So we completed chapter 4 a few weeks back. And then there has been a gap because of special programs and all that. But we are going to start chapter 5 soon.
Okay. So today we'll jump to 15 and then go back to 5.
Yeah. Okay, let me see. Always have a little challenge with my 2 monitors.
So while Prabhu is bringing it up, what we'll do is, before we jump into 15, we'll just recap not even recap, just one sentence on chapter 14, which talks about the 3 modes of material nature. And Krishna mentions that how we are all entangled with the 3 modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And all of us are like puppets being controlled by these modes. Every species is controlled by this. And chapter 14 ends with how to transcend these modes and come to the spiritual platform. Our goal is not to become good. It's not just good. Our goal is to rise above goodness, to become Vaishnavas. And as soon as one becomes Vaishnava or devotee of the Lord, one automatically, the symptom of becoming a Vaishnava, or the signs of becoming a Vaishnava, is that all goodness is encompassed in that as well. So it's not that we become good and then become a devotee, but as our goal is to keep moving towards Krishna, following the process given by the previous acharyas. So as we transcend, so from chapter 14, that we must transcend the 3 modes via devotional service. So let me see. Yep, I can see the screen now. So we must transcend these 3 modes via devotional service. And devotion, but how? How devotion? And that's what we go into the next slide, which is chapter 15, where Krishna talks about material detachment. That through detachment, up until now, Krishna has not really gotten into detachment. But in chapter 15, he will get into this very, very heavy topic and very important topic of detachment. And the next slide, before even we get into chapter 15 and talk about detachment and other things that Krishna talks about, I'd like to mention, go over the greatness of Gita, or Gita Mahatmya. Every chapter of Bhagavad Gita has a story behind it, a narration given by Lord Shiva to his wife Parvati about the greatness of Mahatmya of each and every chapter. So understanding the Mahatmya of how great this chapter is, or each verse of this chapter is, we must hear this story. How many of you all have heard the Gita Mahatmya, chapter 15? Raise your hand if you have. Okay, nobody? Or you may have, and you may have forgotten. You have, okay. So it's good. I'll repeat it. So basically, this was a pastime story that Lord Shiva narrated to Parvati. And this is a story about King Narasingha of Gauda Desh. He was a very affluent king, very powerful king. And in his kingdom, his commander-in-chief, commander of the army, whose name was Sarbhamerun. Sarbhamerun was pretty powerful, very strong, but also very shrewd and very cunning. Him and the prince had decided that they're going to take over the kingdom and they want to kill the king. So this was a plan that was being made for a long time. But unfortunately for them, the commander of the army, Sarbhamerun, he got this disease of cholera and he died from that disease. Now, because he had been doing a lot of mischief behind the scenes and incurred a lot of bad karma, by providence, he got the body of a horse. His next life, he died and he took a body of a horse. And when he took the body of a horse, he was not just an ordinary horse. He was a very powerful horse, very strong, very fast, very attractive, beautiful looking. And at that point, what happened was one of the rich merchants from Gaudadesh happened to travel to the place where this horse was, in the kingdom, in the town where this horse was. And when he saw the horse, he was actually trading in many things. One of them was horses. So he had a good read for horses. When he saw this horse, right away in his mind, he thought that this would be a perfect horse to take to our king, King Narsingha, and have him buy it from me. This way I can make some profit and the king can also have a really nice, strong, fastest horse. So he spent a lot of money and he bought this horse and he took it to the king and he asked for his audience and he said, King, I have something for you that I picked from hundreds and thousands of horses that I have bought and I've seen. You can never find a horse like this anywhere in this universe. The king was really impressed and said, okay, let me see. Well, the first sight the king had, he was really impressed. And he showed him some of the tricks of the horse. And he was impressed. He said, all right, I'll buy it. Tell me how much you want. And whatever amount the trader said, the merchant said, the king gave, took the horse. And one day, the king went for hunting. And while hunting, he saw a deer and started following the deer. The deer is really quick, but the horse is even faster. But the deer then kind of took him inside the forest, deep into the forest, where the king left behind his small entourage of bodyguards. And the king and the horse went deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into the forest. The deer was gone. He never got hold of the deer. And many hours went by, and the king was tired, was hungry, was thirsty. So he stopped at a place. There was a big stone where he stopped. He leaned over that stone, sat on the stone, and wanted to get some rest. And the horse was right next to him. As soon as he sat there, a breeze went by and a piece of bale leaf, bale patra, a dry bale leaf flew and came and fell very next to him. Now this was a half leaf. He picked it up and he saw that there was something written on it. And of course it was Sanskrit. He could read it. So he started reading it. It was only 2 lines of one of the verses, not even the entire verse, only 2 lines. And he started reading. And as soon as he started reading, this was Bhagavad Gita chapter 15 verse, the horse fell down and left the body. At that moment itself, the horse died. And from there came a celestial being with 4 arms and paid his obeisances to the king and went back to the heavenly planets. Or was it spiritual world? Sorry?
I said, Hari Bol Jai.
Yeah. And at that point, the king was completely astonished. He saw this happen right in front of him, and he was completely shocked. And at that point, he just didn't know what to do. Now the horse was gone. He was by himself. So he started walking around and he saw a small bhajan kutir, an ashram of a Brahmana by the name Vishnu Sharma. And he approached Vishnu Sharma and he saw that this Vishnu Sharma seemed to be a very, very pious sage. And he had some glow. He knew he seems to be very powerful, not an ordinary sage. So he relayed to the Brahmana what had just happened with him. And at that point, Vishnu Sharma meditated and he realized that what had happened, who this horse was, and what just happened. So he told the king that what you read was one of the shlokas of chapter 15. And the power of that verse is so much that that horse was sitting next to you. Just by hearing, all his bad past karmas were done, his time was done, and he was liberated. So Lord Shiva says that this is the greatness of chapter 15. So now we know the Mahatmya, we know the greatness. So the more we read this chapter, especially in this month, the better, even if it's just reading the verse and the translation. If the purports are too long, you don't have the time, but 20 verses you can try and read daily. Prabhupada spent so many hours writing, we can spend a few minutes just reading it. So in this month. So that was the greatness. Let's go to the next slide. So what I've done is basically broken the 20 verses into into a few verses lumped together. So this slide we have verses 1 to 5. And as I mentioned that Krishna is talking about in last, that one has to, how do you come across, how do you come out of this entanglement of three modes of material nature? And Prabhupada says through devotional service. And how to do that devotion. Somebody once asked Prabhupada, I want to be a good devotee. Can you tell me how can I be a good devotee? And Prabhupada just said one word, desire. One must have the desire to become a devotee, to become a good devotee. For anything we do in life, we must have a desire. You want to go to college, you want to get married, you want to work at a certain place, you want to go to America, we wanted to come to America, or we were just born here. But for anything we do in life, we must have that desire. If that desire is not there, no matter how much, today, if I can speak, I can give you the best class. I can give you a class that was given by one of our senior Maharajas. I'll just repeat that class, just that the face and the body is Ramachandra Das. Or you could have the Maharaj speaking here too. But on the other side, for those who are listening, if they do not have the desire that today I'm going to attend Bhakti Vriksha, I'm going to spend 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, and I want to get something out of this program today. If that desire is not there, no matter what we hear or what we do, we will be the same person we were last Friday and this Friday, and months and weeks and years of Fridays to come and go. So first and foremost thing is to have that desire, strong desire that I want to become a pure, sincere devotee of Krishna. That is my utmost desire. So now when you have that desire, desire by itself is not good enough. I have a desire, yes. My son is in 12th. He's going to be going to college next year. I have a desire that he go to this college or that college, and he has a desire to go to a good college. But with that comes hard work and determination. So same thing in spiritual life too. I have a desire, but then we need to have determination that yes, no matter what, Friday comes, Bhakti Vriksha, I have a desire. I have a desire to go to the temple on Sundays. I'm going to be determined. I'm going to program my life in a way where this time is allotted, is kept aside for my Krishna conscious activities, for spiritual activities. So that determination that no matter what come, may it be relatives coming, visiting, inviting for prasadam, somebody wants to come home, or whatever it is, that I'm determined. For so many years, last 30 years, there's hardly been any time that we have missed Sunday programs or Bhakti Vriksha programs. The only time that we missed, like today I'm missing our Bhakti Vriksha, and we have a Srila Prabhupada disciple from California, His Grace Nirantar Prabhu. He's speaking at our Bhakti Vriksha today. So I'm not there. Or if I'm sick, I'm not there. Or if I'm traveling and I can't be there personally, I'm not there. But otherwise, we made it a point, and it's a commitment that we have to make with our family members together, if possible. So that determination that I am going to do it, may it be japa, morning, whatever programs you all have locally. Now with determination and desire, sometimes you get dejected also. You feel down sometimes. You get let down sometimes. Some things come in our way. So many things happens where we lose that enthusiasm. And then it's hard to come back again. And I tell devotees, so far, desire 1D, second D is determination, and third D is do not get dejected. Many times we give up easily and we feel I'm just not made for it. I just can't do it. It's just not in me, or my stars are such that I cannot do it. And I tell devotees that in your material life, yes, you have certain good and bad bank balances where you no matter how much hard you work, if there's only so much wealth written in your karma, in your life, that's all you're going to get. But spiritual life is not like that. Spiritual life is beyond your karmic reactions. It is not bound by the good and bad that you've done in the past. So never get dejected. Every time you get a punch from Maya, you stand up and start fighting again. The last thing we want to do is give up, because when we give up, the doors close. But every time we stand up and start fighting again, what happens? We become stronger and stronger and stronger. And we don't even realize it, but that's what happens. So that was the 3Ds. And the fourth one is depend on Krishna. I have the desire, I have the determination, I'll keep going, but still I don't feel that bhav inside. I still don't feel that love for Krishna. Well, that's where the most important thing comes, which is depending on Krishna, depending on Guru, and saying that Krishna, if you desire, I have a desire, but if you desire, hey Tulsi Maharani, if you desire, please give me love for Krishna. Because love for Krishna, you can get Jnana Yoga by studying books. You can do Karma Yoga and become the best of the persons and go to Brahma Loka and get a nice body there. But for Bhakti Yoga, we can only do so much with our own endeavor. But there is, Krishna has given us that liberty. He's given us that space that, yes, it is also up to you how far you want to go. But at the end, that one factor is required, which is Krishna's mercy. So these four things we must understand. And whenever we fail in any of these, go back to number one, get your desires straightened up, get your determination back again, and pray for Krishna's mercy. That's why we say in the morning when we do Tulsi our japa, that to keep Tulsi Maharani close to us and pray to Bhakti Devi that, hey, Bhakti Devi, please give me love for Krishna, because she has it. You can only ask somebody who has something that you want, they can give you. If you go to somebody who doesn't have what you want, guess what? They're searching for it too, probably, and they can't give you. And if they haven't found it, they're not going to be able to give you or tell you where they're going to find it. So straight to Bhakti Maharani. So Krishna talks in this chapter that, yes, okay, you want to approach Krishna, but the process is through detachment. Detachment from what? Up until now, he hasn't spoken about detachment. Now he's coming to, okay, now you're serious. You've gotten till chapter 15. That means you're going to hang in till chapter 18. You've come this far. So now let me tell you that to get me to come to the spiritual world, this material world is nothing but a reflection of the spiritual world. And he gives the example of the banyan tree, which is completely entangled. You can't probably find another tree that is as entangled as a banyan tree. The branches, the leaves, the twigs, everything is intertwined with the modes of goodness, passion, ignorance, everything, which is a reflection in this material world. Now, how do I get out of this? Yes, we're entangled in so many things. It's not just things, but it's also relationships. We're entangled in so many different relations. And we're finally, even if we can get out of all these entanglements of different things and relations, then the last entanglement, which is the most difficult to get out of, is our own body. Everybody loves their body. Everybody, when corona, if fever comes to anybody at this point, I've seen the strongest of the strong start worrying and start getting all these thoughts of, maybe I should have taken life insurance. Why did I take term life? I should have taken whole life insurance. Prabhuji, if something happens, can you please, take care of my family? I said, listen, where are you going? He says, I have little fever. I said, so let's relax. You're stressed out and the blood pressure shoots up and the blood pressure shoots up and everything is going wrong. And I'm like, relax. Your blood pressure is shooting up because you're thinking too much. Remember what we read? Surrender to Krishna and whatever happens is Krishna's. So now what? Right? But that is true that when body gets to that point, all Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, everything goes out of the window. So we have to constantly remind ourselves that anything can happen at any moment. So it's better to be detached. Krishna is saying, yes, you're in this material world. Live like the lotus in a pond. A lotus is in a pond, right? But it gets wet, but it's never wet. The drop falls and it just drills down and goes back into the pond. So similarly, we can be in the material world. We can have association of materialistic people, but we have to have our uniqueness. We have to protect our bhakti, Lata Bij also. So he begins by the need for detachment. And I can narrate you a story, very, very beautiful and nice story of how Srila Prabhupada, there's many, many stories of how Srila Prabhupada was detached. There's one story where Srila Prabhupada, when he was in Vrindavan, and once, as those who have been to Vrindavan have known, or you have heard about, is how the monkeys of Vrindavan are known for their naughtiness. And once they came, one of the monkeys came and stole Srila Prabhupada's sandals and took the chappal sandals and ran away on the top of a roof. Srila Prabhupada noticed it. He got up and he looked at his secretary Shrutakirti Prabhu. And Shrutakirti Prabhu looked at Prabhupada, and they're looking at each other. And Prabhupada is probably like, okay, do something. And Shrutakirti Prabhu is like thinking, what do I do? I've never even seen a monkey in where I come from. We don't have monkeys, we have deers, we have squirrels, we have bears, but not monkeys. So Prabhupada stood up, he took a stick and he put his stick down, and in another hand from a bowl, he took a bunch of sweets. And he said, Shrutakirti, follow me. And Shrutakirti Prabhu got really fired up. He's like, all right, we are going at war. My spiritual master has told me, let's go. And I'm going to now go and, fight. And he was all charged up. And Prabhupada went and he stood by that monkey and he's looking at the monkey with anger. Give me the shoes. And the monkey staring back at Prabhupada and Prabhupada is like trying to negotiate, and then he throws a sweet. He first does with the stick, and Shrutakirti is just waiting. As soon as Prabhupada says something, I'm going to pounce, I'm going to start climbing up to the monkey. So Prabhupada is using his stick, and then he throws the sweet, and the monkey takes the sweet, and he eats the sweet, and then he takes the sandal, and he starts chewing on it. And Prabhupada is just standing watching, and Shrutakirti is like, here, the founder Acharya of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness, the what we say, Acharya of the entire world. And this monkey is eating his sandal, and me, secretary, I'm not able to do anything, completely helpless. And then he's also thinking, why Prabhupada is probably doing this? This is all in his diary. Why is Prabhupada? It's okay, let it go. But Prabhupada is still waiting. Then Prabhupada says, I don't think he's going to give back the sandal. And Prabhupada walks back to his room. After he walks back to his room, Shrutakirti thinks that, you know what, let me go and try and get it for Prabhupada. If I get it, Prabhupada will be like, awesome job, Shrutakirti, you did it. And Prabhupada will probably not take the sandals because he bit into it. He's probably torn it. So I'll keep it as a memory of Srila Prabhupada's sandal. You know, after many, many years, I will auction it for millions of dollars or something, you know. So anyways, so he went, and somehow or other, he took Girish, another devotee, and they both went and they took some things, and somehow they gave him food, and the monkey left and gave the sandals. Shrutakirti Prabhu was most excited. He brought those sandals back. He took it to Srila Prabhupada and he said, Prabhupada, your sandals. Prabhupada looked at it. He thought that he will bless him and he'll be happy and he'll say, okay, you know, you keep it. Prabhupada looked at it. He looked where he had chewed, and Prabhupada said, it's not so bad. I think I can get it stitched. So why don't you go get it stitched and I'll wear? And Shrutakirti Prabhu was, oh, Krishna, oh my God, I thought I'll get to keep this sandal forever. And he went, he got it stitched, and Prabhupada put his shoes in that sandal. International Society, Acharya, founder Acharya. He could have got golden sandals. He could have told Amrish Prabhu, he would have made a golden sandal for him. Prabhupada wore that sandal. Shrutakirti Prabhu writes that Prabhupada was never attached to anything. Prabhupada got Rolls Royce, he got he got Mercedes when he traveled. Devotees would come in to pick him up in these cars. He used it in Krishna's service. He got this sandal bag that was chewed by a monkey. He used it in Krishna's service. He personally never had any bank balance, nothing of himself. He was always detached. So we can learn from this. Also, there's another beautiful story of how in Radha Rasbihari, Mumbai, if anybody has been to Radha Rasbihari temple in Juhu, in the 70s when Prabhupada found that land, and there was a big struggle to build this temple. People were opposing, the government was opposing. Finally, one big contractor, builder, Mr. P.L. Sethi, he fought the fight. Actually, that's another beautiful story I can narrate some other time. But they finally built this guest house and the temple. When it was done, Prabhupada was given a tour, and they showed, you know, the entire team was like, we are making these beautiful rooms for our life members, but we have to make something very special for Srila Prabhupada, a room that he would just be comfortable, love it. The entire atmosphere, Krishna pictures and everything, very thoughtful. They brought Srila Prabhupada to that room. Prabhupada looked at it. He looked at P.L. Sethi and he said, Mr. Sethi, I think this room is very good for you. It is so luxurious, and you are such an aristocrat person. When you come to the temple, where will you stay? Where will you spend time? All our other rooms are not meant for you. You take this room. And Mr. Sethi was, Prabhupada, this room has been made for you. This is for you. No. I travel most of the time. I'm hardly here for a few days. After that, I'm traveling all over. You please come here and stay and be comfortable. Prabhupada was completely detached. Now, we've seen many, many sages and so-called gurus today, you know, wearing gold and this and that, and so much opulence they've been given. And they very much accept it. And after a few years, we hear that that guru has fallen down. Left and right, we see that. Srila Prabhupada was pure then. He was pure when it was happening. He is pure after he is left also. And that's why we see this international society. The foundation of this international society is Srila Prabhupada. The strength behind ISKCON is Prabhupada. And because of his purity, this whole movement is growing like anything. You see? So Prabhupada was so detached. So we can learn from these things that yes, whatever Krishna has given us, whoever Krishna has given us, that we utilize it for Krishna, but be prepared that the person who has given us all these things can also take away all these things. We may not have what we don't have 5 years, 10 years down the road. You don't know what you have. We may have children, you may have a better job, you may have a car, another house. You don't know what you don't have yet. But as soon as we get it, we get obviously so attached that at one point where we didn't know about, we didn't care about, now that becomes everything to us. So Krishna says, become detached. Otherwise, your mind will remain in that, and your next life, you'll come back to that same thing. So detached from the material world, which is a reflection of the spiritual world. attain the spiritual world by surrendering to Krishna. But who can surrender? Those who are free from false prestige. Whatever qualities we have, if you're intelligent, if you're beautiful, if you're rich, this is all false prestige. Who has given us these things? If we can daily, when we wake up in the morning, and we can thank Krishna, the first thing you wake up, ask yourself, what am I thinking? First thing you wake up in the morning, are you thinking I have to empty the dishwasher? Or are you thinking I have to go and do the laundry? Or let me get on to my class. My class must have started. Or today, which are my meetings, or what I have to do, whatever you have to do. First thing in the morning when you get up, remember, go deep inside and think, okay, I woke up. I was sleeping. I was in slumber, deep sleep for last 8, 10, 6, 5 hours, whatever it is. I'm a spirit soul and I have this body. I'm still alive. Krishna, Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Let me begin my day by remembering and offer pranams and prayers to you, Krishna. Let me do something today which will make me a better devotee today. So many prayers that you can say. And remember that whatever I have today, if you live your life as if this is your last day to live, your perspective towards all your problems with people, with things, your body, everything will become smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. One saint had said that, and I always remember that. Somebody, a reporter asked, how come you're always smiling? You seem very joyful, healthy, wealthy, and wise. And he said, because I wake up every morning thinking this will be my last day. I tried doing that, and only by practice, because some days you do, the other days you forget. You start in the morning like that, and midday, when somebody gives you an attitude at work, you forget. You say, no, no, I have one more day. Today is his day, not my day. Let me take care of this person. You know, so false prestige, illusion. Who can surrender? Who's free from these things? False association. If you are surrounded by people who are always down, who are always complaining, who are always materialistic, always after money, always feeling insecure, always complaining, if they're humans, that in itself is, all the reasons to complain is gone. I'm a human being. So having the right association, positive-minded people around us, devotees who are inspiring us, leading us by example. So if we change all that, then it becomes easier to surrender. Those who are free from lust, who are not hankering for lust. Lust could be in many ways, many things. And then who are not steady in happiness and distress, or those who are steady in happiness and distress are called, Prabhupada says, Dhira. We have Dhira Krishna Prabhu. So Dhira means who in happiness or in distress is always stable, like this. A person does not go like this one day, next day down, next day up, next day down, not like a roller coaster. So we have to develop these qualities one by one, and then it becomes easier to surrender and also to detach. But remember, think of the worst case scenario that could happen to you and start your day with that, with whatever things you're dealing with. If you have relation problems or anything, think what is the worst could happen, and then start with that. And if that worst thing happens, you are prepared for it anyways. You see? And when something better happens, hey, it's better because you thought it's going to get really bad, but it did not. So hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst. Most of the time, people hope for the best and they are never prepared for the worst. What is the worst? I'll tell you. Many times I say, to me, my very dear to me is my family. We have one son. By Krishna's mercy, he's come up nicely spiritually. But that, again, is Krishna given to us to take care. But I think about it, that tomorrow Krishna can take away my family also. I have to remember, if something like that drastic happens, we have to remain dhira. We have to understand the purpose of life is more than that. Krishna has given us things, properties, relations. We take care of them nicely. But the goal, ultimate goal, is to surrender to Krishna and go back home, back to Godhead. and be with all our loved ones in Goloka and serve Krishna together. And our goal is to send even the loved ones we love. Why do we do Bhakti Vrikshas? We do Bhakti Vrikshas to talk about these topics and help everybody reach to that platform through which they go back home, back to Godhead. In Bhakti Vriksha, the leader servant is the last one who would go back home, back to Godhead. That is my goal. In my Bhakti Vriksha, I want to make sure that everybody goes. When there's fire in the house, you want to make sure everybody, the head of the house makes sure that everybody is out. And then I'll check, hey, anybody left? Okay, nobody. Now let me get out. And while getting out, even if I lose my life, it's okay. I've saved everybody. And that's what our spiritual masters have done. That's what Srila Prabhupada has done. So our goal is to help everybody go up, go up, go up. And those who we are removing from this firehouse also have to appreciate that somebody is taking the time and effort to help me get out of this material condition. So we at least give them some mark of respect and accept that they are going out of their way to do all this. Nobody's getting paid. Dhirgesh Krishna Prabhu didn't pay me tonight to come and speak here, right? But I'm doing why? Because whatever little bit I have learned, I want to share with you all. Next slide. So that comes, detachment comes with practice. And then the next verses from 6 to 11 talks about many things. The goal is transmigration. Detach yourself, go back to the spiritual world, not take another birth again, not go through the 8,400,000 species of life again. Say goodbye to the material world and return back home, back to Godhead. We've forgotten that we are part and parcel of Krishna. And there is no need to struggle from body to body in search of happiness. There are 8,400,000 species, of which in the Padma Puran it is mentioned. Jalajanava Lakshani Sthavara Laksha Vimshati Krimayo Rudra Shankhayat Prakshinam Dashalakshanam Trimashal Lakshanam Parvaha Chatur Lakshani Manushyaha. There are 900,000 species of living entities in the water. Also, there are 2 million non-moving entities such as trees and plants. And there's 1.1 million species of insects and reptiles, 1 million of species of birds, 3 million varieties of beasts and animals, and there are 400,000 human species in this world and in the other. So our goal is not to go from one place to another. We must just, now I have got this Bhagavad Gita, I've got this message. I don't want to become a king in next life. I don't want, many people say, right? They had these desires. I want to become a doctor. I want to become a star. I want to become a sports person. So they're so passionate about it that even if not this life, next life, I want to become that. When we get this higher knowledge, we must understand that every body we take is going to be temporary, even if we go into the heavenly planets. So we must engage our senses of seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, and our mind, which controls all these senses, in engaging in Krishna's service. So it is explained that the pure devotees can see this reality, but the materialists cannot and live as if this is it. They are just focused on, just 2 days ago, I went to install a Bhagavatam set at one family's house, very new. And when we took Bhagavatam, and then I was telling them about some of our programs and said, please join us for some of these programs. And they were like, no, what, whatever we do, we want to give our 100%. If we cannot give our 100%, we don't want to put our hand into it. And I said, okay, then you don't have to do 100%. Why don't you do 10%? Because whatever 10% you do will go back with you. You'll take that 10% with you. It's that kind of investment. And I could see that they were, Haribol, please. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam I took, and here's your $290, and thank you very much. So people are so much entangled, but we have to become smart and sharp enough to find what will make them entangle and think. So after all that discussion, for the last 20 minutes, when I sat down to eat meals with them, I was just throwing some points in their mind which they can start contemplating about. Oh, really? This is what is said in Bhagavad? Oh, really? This is what happens after death? So they can, you leave them with so much questions that they can start. You're helping them. You're helping them for their future, for their future lives. So otherwise, people are too entangled out there. You look, my relatives, not hardly anybody is in Krishna consciousness in ISKCON or chanting. One may think, oh, Ramchandra Prabhu, you're giving class here, your family members would be so fortunate. Honestly speaking, you would not want to be my family member, because if you are my family member, you'll take me for granted, and you'll say, oh, yeah, I know, So people are so much these days that we must avoid that type of association. Our goal is that I don't want to take birth again. When we go to funerals, for example, people say, "Na, this person was so nice. This person was so good. He's gone to Swargalok, heaven, because he was so nice person, never hurt anybody." But we know that that is not the truth. Just being nice doesn't mean that you're going to go to heaven. Just being bad doesn't mean you're going to go to hell. You could take birth right here in Wuhan, China, and you could be in a hellish condition. Have you seen the dogs that are getting stripped from their skin? The things that we have seen on where we are, Corona, where it started, right? If one get a body like that and get burnt and stripped, why do we need to go to Patal Loka? Just here, right here, it's possible. So we must avoid that type of association also. Next was my next slide. So Krishna's position as the maintainer, we must understand that Krishna rakhe mare ke, mare Krishna rakhe ke. I want to detach myself. I want to practice devotional service, and Krishna is my maintainer. Whatever I have today is Krishna's. And then Krishna explains that, Haribol, so yes, Hastinapur is nice, Kurukshetra is Dharma Kshetra, but Arjuna, let me tell you about my place, where the entire place is lit and there is no sun. The entire place is lit, there is no sunlight, no electricity bills. The moon, there is no moon, but the vegetables and all, they, beautiful, nice, tasty vegetables, everything, vegetables and all get their taste from the moonlight at night. If you all didn't know that, Prabhupada explains. The sun, the moon, the various planets rotate because I'm in those planets. The food has their taste because I'm in it. The air, the fire, the digestion, everything comes from me. The power of digesting the 4 types of foods that can be drunk, chewed, licked, sucked. I give that digestion power. It's not churan or ganvati or all those Ayurvedic medicines that we take after for digestion. Krishna says, I am that fire of digestion. Everything is because Krishna is. One of my mentors, His Grace Patri Prabhu, always says this line, I am because we are. Meditate on that. I am because we are together. Very important. May it be Bhakti Vriksha or maybe a center or temple. I personally, by myself, cannot do anything. But when we are together, we are strong and united. And we are because Krishna is. Or I am because Krishna is. But most of the time out there, people say, we are because I am. Because I am there, this is happening. You all can do this because you take me out of the picture and everything will fall. No, Baba, don't be in that misconception. Prabhupada, it doesn't work like that. Prabhupada empowered everybody, you see. So even for ourselves also, I am because Krishna is. So we must always keep that in mind. And this way we are glorifying Krishna all the time. By glorifying Krishna, Krishna is very pleased. And when Krishna is pleased, he fulfills all our desires. So Krishna then says, I'm seated in everyone's heart. So I know how much you're submitting. I know how much you're keeping for yourself and how much you're giving me. So it's by practice and constantly purifying ourselves, we can become pure and pure in our submission. Krishna said that 13 ways that I witness what is going on with you. And one of them is me as Paramatma, as a super soul in your body. And then also as the sun, as the fire, as the sky, as the air, as the demigods, as the moon, as the evening, as the day, as the night. I am the directions. I am in water, land, and super soul. These 13 things, through these 13 things, I witness all your activities. So you could hide who you are from the outside world. I could come to Bhakti Vriksha with tilak, dhoti, kurta, and look like wonderful, nice, handsome looking devotee. And as soon as I log off, I could be doing something else. So Krishna says, Haribo, you may do it in the dark. You can turn off the lights, fine. But end of the day, I'm still in your heart and I'm witnessing everything that the Atma is doing. There is the soul and then there is the super soul. The soul Atma is trying to enjoy the fruits of this tree. And the Paramatma is observing and watching and waiting till the soul turns to the super soul and says, Hare Bo, super soul, can you please help me? And then that super soul will guide you to the right path. But then we have to be willing to do that. Hari Bol. We generally look for external things. Let me hear this kirtan. Maybe this kirtan will bring that bhav in me that I can, from today onwards, I can start. But that kirtan will only last for like maybe 30 minutes, 1 hour. As soon as that kirtan is over, it's gone. We forget to look inside and pray to that Krishna who's inside us. Please, when you're chanting, you're focusing on the holy names. But remember, Krishna, you're chanting for Krishna. Krishna is right there. Pray to Krishna. Talk to Krishna. He's waiting to talk to us. He's waiting. He will guide us in some amazing ways. But are we tuned in to hear him? There's so much noise in our head that even if Krishna is speaking to us through devotees or through things happening, we're not able to hear it, not able to catch it because there's so much going on. We need to calm ourselves down. We need to understand that things will happen. Just calm ourselves, make our lives much, much more simpler and wait for those signs and messages that are coming from Krishna. And when those messages and signs come, the mind is going to say, hey, that was just a coincidence. What are you thinking? What are you saying? Krishna did this for you. Oh, you went to the temple and a flower fell from his garland. That was just a coincidence. Why are you making such a big deal out of it? It's not a Krishna's mercy or anything. You saw that flower, even Dhir Krishna Prabhu saw that flower. So he's also thinking he got the mercy. You're thinking you got the mercy. Why? So mind then starts playing all these tricks. But we must have faith and conviction. Why not? If Krishna can lift the Govardhan, he can do like drop a flower. I'm praying for something, Krishna, 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 Krishna. And I suddenly open my eyes and a flower falls from there. Why can't it be Krishna's mercy? You tell the mind, no, my Krishna can do anything. So my Krishna will speak through the devotees. He will speak through the Shastra. He'll speak through the Gurus and he'll speak through the sadhus. But I have to be in tune. And when I get that message, then I have to be ready to pick up that message, just like relay race. In a relay race, somebody's running from behind with a stick in their hand and you're waiting, waiting. As soon as they give you the stick in your hand, you have to start running. You have to start running. Not that you take that stick and then start wondering, what do I do with this message that this Guru gave now? Get up early in the morning and chant 16 rounds Mangala Aarti. Are Baba, run! You have to run with what has been given. So that we must remember. And then Krishna says, I'm the compiler of the Vedas. Here he declares, I am the compiler of the Vedas. And the purpose of the Vedas is to know me. Arjuna, the purpose of Vedas is to know me. But still, after hearing all this, people are not interested. They're still not attracted. What can be done? Somebody was just asking me, why is it that, after even hearing so much or seeing Krishna, that people still do not feel that connection? I said, well, simple example, Prabhupada has given the sun. The sun is there, the sunlight is there, the clouds are in between, so one cannot see it. They've committed so many offenses or sinful activities that the heart is filled with so much dust that they just cannot feel Krishna. So what to be done? To do that, we have to start japa. Chanting is the foundation of Krishna consciousness. We have to first hear, and after we hear, then we have to implement it. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So start with hearing, and whatever we are hearing, don't let it go wasted. Otherwise, we'll keep hearing, and become like, a merchant who's just accumulating, and finally dies and leaves everything behind for somebody else. No, we have to accumulate, and keep giving, distribute it, and apply in our own lives. So like that. Let's see. Let's go to the next slide. And then Krishna says that I am the supreme, I am the maintainer. And in this world, you have two kinds of people. In this world, you have the fallible who tend to commit mistakes. We all have four fallible qualities. We have the tendency to commit mistakes. We are in illusion. We have the cheating propensity, and we have imperfect senses. These are the qualities that each and everybody has. And the infallible, in the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. They're perfect. But then Krishna says, beyond these, the fallible and the infallible, and celebrated as both in this world and the Vedas, I am the one who's celebrated as both in the Vedas, and I'm the supreme person. So above these two, I am complete. I am the most pure. I am the origin of everything. I do not have a beginning. I do not have an end. And everybody the goal is to get back to the Supreme Lord. Next slide. One who knows this fact, that Krishna is a Supreme Lord, knows everything, Krishna says. That you may not know many details about the material world, but if you know who Krishna is, you're complete. Srila Prabhupada even said that if you see my disciple, if you see a devotee even smoking at a beedi shop or at some place, pay respects, because that person still accepts Krishna as the Supreme Lord. Is much better than those who do not even accept Krishna. He will face the consequences of what he shouldn't be doing, not following the orders of the spiritual master, but still is dear to Krishna. Offer your respects. Today or tomorrow will come back in track. So in the last two verses, Krishna says, whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting, no doubts, when everything is going well, Janmashtami time, Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Then Ganesh Chaturthi, Ganesh Ji is the Supreme Lord. When I have problems, then Navagraha, the 9 planets, are the Supreme Lord. And during some other festival, somebody else is the Supreme Lord. No. Ekahe Krishna. Sarva else, everything else is Vritta, is not the Supreme Lord. So we have to have that conviction. He's the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata, Krishna says. So if we can see Krishna in everything, the source of everything, that is perfection. And finally, this is the most confidential knowledge, Krishna says. Why? Because in this I have told you, and here he uses the word, in this verse, he says Purushottama, in verse number 19, Janati Purushottamam, the Supreme Lord. Whoever knows me as the Purushottama, the Supreme Lord. This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scripture, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. Devotees tend to sometimes forget this fact. and they take shelter of many other things. We have to have full conviction and faith. If we start with, I'm ready to lose everything, if you're ready to start with that, your life, your day, then you will never deviate or never go to anybody else for help. You'll remain with Krishna or Ram or Narasimha, Vishnu Tattvas, and understand that Krishna is the source of all that. I have a friend, I know somebody, devotee, going through some physical challenges, some disease, and gradually taken up, reached out to astrologer. Astrologer said, do this and do that. And then because there is physical challenges, having to go through certain treatments, which is affecting the body. So the services were lessened. So I reduced my devotional service. Then I took some approach to an astrologer who's not a devotee. So astrologers asked me to do now a few other things, to read this and read that and do this and do that. So now I had 2 hours to do 16 rounds. I was barely doing Bhagavad Gita, but now I've added something else also into that, my plan. And then I've started hearing some other sage, some other saint who's not in Krishna consciousness speaks about goodness. And then I'm hearing that also because that gives me positive. And I could see as a lighthouse from a distance that this boat that was coming to the shore has slowly started dwindling away. Wonderful devotee. But the thing is that faith, conviction, Rakhe Krishna, Mare ke, Mare Krishna, Rakhe ke. What will happen to me? I lose this body only, no? So what? This body is Krishna's. But I have to chant because my Guru Maharaj has asked me to chant 16 rounds. I must read Bhagavad Gita. And like the gopis in the Rasa Leela, when Krishna disappeared and they're searching, Krishna, Krishna, where are you? Trees, have you seen Krishna? Oh, stone, have you seen Krishna? Dear, have you seen Krishna? And then suddenly Lord Narayan appears, 4 hands, smiling. He says, oh, Supreme Lord, have you seen Krishna? Narayan is taking out his sweat with 4 hands. My God, these gopis are like, he's all bewildered, with 4 hands going on his head. What? I'm here in front of them, Supreme Lord, and they're asking for Krishna? They didn't care for Narayan. They didn't care. They knew that this is the Supreme Lord, but they said, just Krishna. Can you please tell me where Krishna is? So if we have that conviction, you see that beautiful picture in that person's eye in the slide, there is Krishna. If we can see Krishna, Krishna is seeing everything inside us also. And Krishna, when that moment comes, the last final moment, we will remember Krishna. We will be able to detach ourselves from that last moment. I don't want anybody in front of me. Devotees, our senior devotees at the time of death. I don't want, please do not bring any family member close to me because I'll get attached to them. I want to leave. Now I want to go back to Krishna. So that way we can always meditate and remember that this life is very temporary, and we've seen this coronavirus has made us realize. So let us invest some time and energy in our spiritual life, take it upon ourselves that I am going to do it. I'm going to be serious. I don't care what others are doing. I don't care what my neighbors are doing. I don't care what my husband is doing, and I don't care what my wife is doing, because my Krishna consciousness is not dependent on anybody. I don't care what my parents are doing. They may say, give a class. My son, my father says, get up in the morning, but I see he gets up at like 9 o'clock in the morning. So I'm not going to do this. No, you do it if I don't do it. Our Krishna consciousness is just ourselves. And if we can do it, we can take many of our family members back with us to that spiritual world, just like Prahlad Maharaj did. So I'll pause here and pause for any questions, comments anybody may have. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Beautiful. It was a beautiful journey for 15th chapter. I was so worried like how we will fit in the whole chapter, but so beautifully you covered all the important points. I know I spoke to you, can you cover the whole chapter? And then you kindly agreed. But in the heart, I was like, did I do the right thing to request the whole chapter?
I had to meditate on it for some time, that how should I cover it? One of the ways we did that in our last Bhakti Vriksha, somebody else did it, and they went through each verse actually. And I was just thinking, everybody has different natures, right? Different ways, and everybody's different style of preaching and all. And I said that, I'm not a very intellectual person, and I'm more practical, more speak from my heart. And I said, I can do that 20 verses, and I lose people during that 20 verses because they'll probably be doing something else in their mind. I'm reciting 20 verses. Rather, I'll just pick one or two or three, 4 points, right, that we talked about, and just highlight that.
Well, yeah, it was so wonderful. I've been trying to read the whole chapter every day, but today I think now I will really relish it the remaining days when I will read those verses. So as Prabhuji said, please take some time out. It won't take more than 10 minutes to read the whole chapter every day. But after this class, I'm sure we all have a good understanding and we can really relish what we are going to read as a part of our Purushottam month sadhana. So any questions, any comments, any doubts, please feel free. Prabhuji is very, very knowledgeable, very, very devoted. I mean, he will say no, but I know. But the point is that we can see the conviction, right? And when somebody has that kind of conviction in the process of Krishna consciousness, in Guru, in Srila Prabhupada, we can really get all the answers to our questions. That's the whole idea. So please feel free to ask any question you have.
It was easier because I'm not so knowledgeable, I'm not so intelligent. That's why it was easier to catch on what Prabhupada said, just chant it around, and this is the only way, this is the way. So I was like, okay, that's it, period. No more research to be done. So I never did research. I only copied. In school also, exams, I used to copy, from answers from here. So I say, if I use that same process here, just copy and repeat what I've heard from other devotees. That's easy for me.
Wonderful. That Srila Prabhupada said, just repeat what I am saying, what I am writing. So you're a
Of
very...
course, we add a little bit of our experiences and realizations, but majority of it is just have faith in Guru and Gauranga.
Yeah. So again, any questions, devotees? Any questions, any comments, anything not clear, please feel free to ask. All of you are on mute, so we'll have to unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. Glories to Prabhupada. It was a very nice class. It was very, I felt like I was walking through the journey. It was really nice.
I was getting the inspiration by looking at you both, because every time you were smiling, laughing, or I was like, hey, somebody's listening to my class. And I was feeling
enjoying it.
On the stage when they sing, right? And people are like, somebody's singing and they love to sing, but they don't know that they're saying, when is he going to finish? Finish. But
thank you, Prabhu. I wanted to share a pastime when you were talking about the last two verses that you were covering. I was remembering how, and I don't know how many devotees know about this, but when I met Ramchandra Prabhu at our temple president's meeting this past January, he fell ill when he was there. And every devotee was very, 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 very concerned, very, very worried. And he had to be taken to the hospital. And none of us could actually even focus on the meetings. And the next day, I think he came to the meeting, if I'm not mistaken. And we were saying, Prabhu, what are you doing here? And he says, no, I think I'll be fine. If I get worse, then I'll go up. He seems so detached that I wanted to share with the devotees, that he's one of a very good example that even though he had a serious heart problem, he still came for the meetings the next day. He did not want to miss the association. He did not want to miss the, being with the devotees and the managers and the leaders, whatever. Just want to get in the nectar. That he says, I'm going to come, like what he said, I'm going to come. And he came for the meeting. So I want to share with the devotees that, Ramchandra Prabhu is a very good example of how to say, whatever the body says, I'm going to come. And he did come for all the days of those meetings in January, regardless of his health problems. I want to share that pastime of yours, Prabhu.
Yeah, so I came the next day, but I came only like the second half, because obviously you want to make wise decisions too. Body is first, health is first, then Krishna consciousness. So I did come because it was prasadam time. But I took prasadam and then I sat and then I said I need to rest. I went back. But the next day after that, I was there pretty much the entire day. You have to wait out. Don't be like fanatic.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
I was very inspired by your determination
Yeah. Thank you.
because you had the desire.
Oh,
And then
absolutely.
you did it on Krishna. So you had all the 4Ds, Prabhu.
When they took me in the ambulance, as soon as they closed the door, I told the guy, "Can you open the door once more?" And I opened, and my godbrother was there, Sameshwar. I said, "Prabhu, can you arrange for prasadam at the hospital, because I don't know what they'll do."
I remember
So
that.
I was not worried about hospital they're taking me. I knew that if I'm there for 6 to 8 hours, I don't want to get anything from there. So you at least bring a plate. Fortunately, they released me in like 3 hours or so.
Yes.
But what to do? What worrying is not going to help you. My wife was like, "Should I come there?" My wife is on the call, Madhvi Sita, right there. She called and she said, "Should I drive down?" And I said, "No, don't worry. My god brother's here. Many of the devotees are here. All well-wishers are here. Let's wait out another day or two and then we'll see." So, she was also strong enough and didn't panic. I said, "Don't panic. No panicking." And she was also, whatever, Krishna's desire. So,
Very
Good to know, Prabhuji, you're fond of prasadam. So next time I'm coming to New Jersey, I want to make sure I can have your association for the prasadam, please. I will.
I thought you would say that you'll invite me to Pennsylvania and say, "Okay, we're going to have nice prasadam for you."
I will definitely, Prabhu. We look forward for that day when you can come here. So again, any questions, devotees? You are all on mute. We have a lot of devotees. Suvrat, Ajay Prabhu, Nina Mataji, Nusya Mataji, of course, Vishakha, Anil Uncle, Smita Auntie, Anita Mataji, Sujay Prabhu, Bhavya, Anand Prabhu, Sampada Mataji, Beena Mataji, Govind,
Jai.
Madhu Mataji, Amar Prabhu, Rachna Mataji, Ram Babu Prabhu, Tungavidya.
There's two things that could happen. Either the class was so clear that there's no questions or doubts, or it just went like, sometimes we say, Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, amazing lectures, amazing books. What was so amazing? I didn't understand anything. It was so high level. Everything went from here. So it could be one or the other, and it doesn't matter whichever it is. At least we had some sangha.
We also had
Hare
Mamita Mataji. She usually asks questions. I think she had to leave little early. Somebody was saying,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Dhanvat Pranam Prabhuji's class was so wonderful and practical. So I think there is no question. We have to just apply those things.
absolutely, Prabhuji. This is one of the class. Personally, I think I will be listening to at least once every month. That will definitely help me. Fortunately, we are recording it, so that we will share in the group. Two things, Prabhuji, because nobody else has any question. I like the way when you were saying what is the goal and all that. Today, I always heard this. Our goal is Golok, going back to Godhead. Today, in my mind, it is very, very easy to fix. Goal equal to Goloka. They are both resemble also in the meaning, also in the in the pronunciation also. So somehow it resonated more to me today. Goal, Golok. So thank you for that. Somehow it touched my heart. One question I have is, you talked about how important it is to keep on taking this process that we have got sincerely and seriously. But there is a tendency in us to take things for granted, which we get it very easily or with no effort sometimes. How to get rid of that kind of mentality?
How to not become complacent.
Yes, that's the right way to ask that question.
When we have not set up the goal, if we are not clear what my goal is, then we would become complacent. If I'm on this journey, but I don't know where I want to go, then you'll be okay. There is no rush. I'm driving to Harrisburg or I'm driving to my next town. Doesn't matter. So we have to have our goals set right. My goal is personally to please my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. That is as simple as that. That's my goal. My goal is not to go back home, back to God. My goal is to serve my spiritual master. That is it. Now going to the next level, what does that mean? Serving my spiritual master. Serving my spiritual master means, to me, is what Prabhupada has always said, that help me spread this movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we have to get to this message in every door and every town and village. So I want to be instrumental in that. That is my goal. So to do that, there are certain things that needs to be done. I was never a speaker like this. I told you in the last time also, very shy, very quiet to myself. But if this requires, what I want to do requires me to do this, then so be it. I'll try to do that. So setting that goal right is important, and then putting action behind that. And that goal has to be so strong that, no matter what, I want to please my spiritual master. I want to serve Srila Prabhupada, and that is it. And when that becomes, then you will never allow yourself to be complacent. If you're walking by and you see somebody else in trouble, calling for help, and if you go there, you might get into trouble too. If somebody's drowning, you don't know how to swim, you may sink with them. But a person whose innate nature or desire is to always help others, they will not think twice. They will jump in the water. They will help that person. But somebody who does too much analysis, should I go, should I not, should I this, will be very cautious. So we have to be like that. What my goal is now, to achieve that goal, just go and do it. So that will make us. And then association of devotees. I've seen many devotees come and go because their association went away. They separated themselves from the association. After a while, they feel that, TK is, same person every day. I've heard a lot about the same old jokes and the same old things. And no.
I think we lost your voice.
Okay. Where did you hear till?
That sometimes we think it's the same person again and again speaking.
Yeah. Once somebody told me that, we are reading, Prabhupada is giving the same message in every book. So can we read this other book? And I said, the problem is that even though Prabhupada is speaking the same message so many times, you're still not understanding. That's why we have to keep reading these books. He's just packaging it in a different way, but the same books from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and in small books, Perfection of Yoga, Path of Perfection, all those things. So association is important, setting our goals is important. And then the 4 Ds that I mentioned, can somebody tell me what those 4 Ds were?
Desire, determination, do not get dejected, and depend on Krishna always.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, bro. Thank you. So it's 9:20, last chance. If we can take another minute, if anyone has a question or comment. Otherwise, we can go to the next part of the program.
I see Manasri there. Haribol.
Yeah, Haribol Prabhuji. I was going to say, I don't have any comments, but just wanting to say Haribol to you and Madhavi Sita Mataji.
Haribol.
Thank you for joining, Manasri.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Manasri was from our camp.
Yes, yeah.
Now she's divided. Now she's divided between 2 camps.
I'm divided between 3, actually.
Okay.
Manasri's mother, I didn't know her. I met her one day in ShopRite. And when I met her in ShopRite, I spoke to her about our programs. I said to her mother, I said, we have this Friday program and would you be interested? Please come. And she took my number. I took her number. And that's how their journey started. Her mother came, first day she came to Bhakti Vriksha. And
and then my mom ended up bringing me and my sister the week after.
Yes.
I think this was back in like 2004 or something. So it's been many, many years now.
That's how the journey started.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so Prabhu, if you give the permission, we can go to the next part of the program. We were thinking of reciting Chorashtakam today.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. I'll drop off, Prabhu, if you don't mind. I'll join and see if our Bhakti Vriksha is going on.
Sure, Prabhu.
I'll quietly sneak in there.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you. And I can't thank you enough. Wonderful class. And I will reach out to you again whenever you're available.
Anytime I can be of service. Anasuya Mataji, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
You have a beautiful daughter with a beautiful smile. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam. Hare Krishna, Mataji, Madhvi Sita Mataji, Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much for joining.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Okay, Bhavya, are you ready? Let me share the Chorashtakam lyrics. Give me a second. I always think I am ready and always mess up at the last time. I lose my screens. Okay, got it. Okay, whenever you're ready, can you start?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can everyone see the Chorashtakam on their screens? Let me increase the font size. Is that readable?
Can you pull it down?
Yeah. Okay, we can start. So again, this is the Chorashtakam. We read the meaning last time. Chorashtakam is the glorification of the biggest thief in the whole universe. And who is the biggest thief? Krishna, right? So we understood and read the meaning of these verses. So we'll sing it. It's auspicious to read this bhajan in Purushottam Mas. Go ahead, Bhavya.
Rajapasiram Navanida Choram Gopangananam Chadukula Choram Rajapasiram Navanida Choram Gopangananam Chadukula Choram Anegajita Papa Choram Chora Gaganya Purusham Namami Anegajita Papa Choram Choranganai Viradikayai Hidayascha Choram Navambudashyamalakanti Choram Shiradikaya Hidayascha Choram Navambudashyamalakanti Choram Padashitanam Cha Samasta Choram Chora Gaganya Purusham Namami Padashitanam Cha Samasta Choram Chora Gaganya Purusham Namami Akinchani Kritya Padashritamya Karoti Bhikshupati Ke Ahina Akinchani Kritya Padashritamya Karoti Bhikshupati Ke Ahina Yena Piya Vishana Choraeda Dishashutovana Jagatrayapi Yena Piya Vishana Choraeda Yadiya Namapi Harati Ashesha Karana Viva Parashe Yadiya Namapi Harati Ashesha Giri Prasharana Viva Parashe Asharya Rupa Nanu Chauraedra Deshta Shruto Vanamaya Kadapi Asharya Rupana Nuchauraya
Drishraya Shruto Vanamaya
Ainam Chamanam Chatindriyani Pranam Chahitva Mama Sarvamevam Ainam Chamanam Chatindriyani Pranam Chahitva Mama Sarvam Shikuta Jito Chora Vam Bhakti Damna Shimaya Nirodha Palayasha Kurto Dito Adya Chora Vam Bhakti Damna Shimaya Nirodha Chintasi Garam Yam Pashabandam Bintasi Bhimam Bhava Pashabandam Chintasi Garam Yam Pashabandam Bintasi Bhimam Bhava Pashabandam Chintasi Sarvasya Samastabandam Nivatmano Bhakta Kritam Tubandam Chintasi Sarvasya Samastabandam Nivatmano Bhakta Kritam Tubandam Mana Manashe Tamasarashi Gore Karagrihe Bhukamaya Nivartha Mana Manashe Tamasarashi Gore Karagrihe Bhukamaya Nivartha Navasvahe Chora Hare Chiraya Svachorya Doshtitam Eva Danam Labhasvahe Chora Hare Chiraya Svachorya Doshtitam Eva Danam Karagrahe Vasha Sada Hidaya Madiye Mad Bhakti Pashaditha Bandhana Nishtalasan Tvam Krishna He Pralaya Koti Shantanarayapi Sarvasya Chora Hidaya Nahi Mochami Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shishi Chaurashtakam ki
Thank you, Bhavya. So we will get to the Narasimha prayers now. Anyone would like to sing? Is Manasi Mataji still there? Maybe she can sing if she's there.
No, Prabhuji.
Okay, no problem, Mataji. Okay, Govind, you there? You
Yes,
want to
I'm
sing?
here.
You want to sing?
Sure.
Okay. And it was Govind's birthday last Saturday, so we all can wish him also. Belated happy birthday, Govind. May Krishna bless you.
Thank you.
So, yeah, you can start whenever you're ready.
Okay. Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste.
Sindaya
Praladadaine. Hiranyakashipu Rakshaham. Shilatankanakalaya. Ito Nrsinga Parato Nrsinga
Ito
Yato Yato Yami Tato Nrsinga Bahe Nrsinga Hirdahe Nrsinga
Bahir Narsimha, Narsimha,
Narasingamodim Sharanam Prapadam Tava Kara Kamala Bare Nakam Abhuta Shringam Dalita Vihinyakashipu Tanu Brinda Keshavadim Nara Hari Rupta Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare
Avakara Kamala Varena Adbhuta
Adbhuta Shringam Dalita
Hiranyakashipu Tanubhringam Keshavadhirta Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare
Jaya Nrsingadev Jaya Nrsingadev Nrsingadev Jaya Nrsingadev
Jaya Nrsimhadev Jaya
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj
Jaya
Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev
Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Gurudev
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya
Jaya Prabhupada Nitya Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gora Hari Bol Nitya Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol
Hari Bol, Hari Bol. हरि बोल भक्ति विघ्न विनाशक लक्ष्मी नरसिंह भगवान की जय शिला प्रभुपाद महाराज की जय शिला प्रभुपाद की जय let's keep all of us let's keep each other in our prayers and thank you again for joining this evening. I hope it was we learned something and we got something out of this class. As Prabhuji said, we should always join these programs with the mood that what I can take best, what I can get the best out of this session. So with that mood, we will look forward to get your association on next Friday. And I heard Anya's voice. Did she wanted to sing Narsima prayer? Maybe she can sing on next Friday.
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji.
Hari Bol. Although she couldn't speak, I could feel that energy on the call. So Anya, sorry about that. Next week, next Friday, it will be you.
Say Hare Krishna, Anna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We'll hear from you next Friday, okay? So be ready.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you again. Take care. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Hari Bol.
Hare
Hare
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hari
Krishna.
Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Belated happy birthday, Govind.
Happy birthday, Govind.
Is he still there?
Happy birthday, Govind.
Hare Krishna
you.
to you. Hare
Hare
Krishna to you. Hare Krishna, dear Govind. Hare Krishna to you. Hare Krishna bless you. Hare Krishna bless you. May Krishna bless you.
May Krishna.
Krishna bless you.
So thank you again, and let's also pray for Maidhar Prabhu's family to give them the strength to bear the loss. Recently, Prabhu's father left his body, so please keep them, the whole family, in your prayers and thoughts, and pray to Krishna to keep the departed soul in his service and give the strength to the whole family to bear this loss. These times are always difficult, but at least the best thing we can do is to pray. So thank you again. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Anusaya Mataji. It's always wonderful to have you. It brings a lot of energy in the session. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Hari
Hare
Bol.
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you,
Prabhu.
Uncle. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Danut Pranam. Hare
Except I'm always a
Krishna.
Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Hari
Good
Bol.
to see you.
Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. I'm going to stop the session now. Thank you, Auntie. Thank you, Uncle. Hare Krishna. Take care.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
So nice to see you.
Yes.
Same to you.
Thank you, Uncle. Take care.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.